Hi, this is Paul Myers, and I am making this video to show you a little bit of how to set up a network for a VEX IQ event. Kind of a simple one. So what I would do for an event, this is a little layout, is the schools or the building's network will have some sort of Ethernet connection. You can use an Ethernet cable and connect to a wireless router, and then use the Ethernet connectors to connect to multiple different computers, PCs or Macs, and have some mobile devices as well. Let me kind of go through each step of this and talk about what I prefer, what I recommend for these things. So first of all, the heart of the network setup for your event is a wireless router. I've got a couple of images from products from Amazon. A kind of a low price one, $23 for Linksys N150 router. It only runs on 2.4 gigahertz, but it's wireless in, so it'll connect to all the devices you need to connect to. And then the one that I use is this Linksys N750. It's dual band. It's got the connection, the ability to do the 2.4 gigahertz and the 5 gigahertz. And I'll set that up here in a second and show you how to configure it for your event. So the wireless router is going to be connected through the Ethernet port. I've got a rear panel view here. So on the rear panel, you have this yellow thing that says Internet. We connect an Ethernet cable through that to your network, and that will bring the Internet from the network into the wireless router. And then we connect with each of these four connections to the various PCs or Macs you're going to connect to. And we can also use the wireless functionality of this to connect to the mobile devices, the iPads or Android tablets you're going to be using for mobile scoring. So that's a pretty useful feature. And then, because this is your wireless router and it's got your settings in it, it's a private network, and so you don't have to worry about network traffic or hackers or whatever to mess with your tournament manager or your data, and you're going to have the bandwidth for the wireless communications and stuff. So this is my recommended way of setting up a private wireless network for your VEX IQ or VRC, I guess, tournament. So wired into those wired connections, I like to wire as many connections as possible. The wireless connections can work. You could have another PC or connected wirelessly to this wireless router, and it would be fine. But I found that the timers, as they count down, they tend to miss numbers. They don't look like they run out of the right timing, but they tend to miss numbers. So you'll have if you have a audience display that's doing the countdown and starts at a minute and goes down to 5, 4, it might miss 3 and go to 2, kind of pause on 3 for a couple seconds, and then 1, and so it's a less perfect situation when you don't have a wired connection, when you got a wireless connection, because the wireless connection tends to drop out or just miss a little bit, and you end up with a timer that doesn't look as nice because it'll miss numbers. As far as I can tell, it looks like, in my past experience, that it doesn't actually take longer to get done at basically the same time, but it just kind of glitches every once in a while and will count and miss a number, and so it kind of is distracting to people who are watching it. So like I said, I would recommend at least the displays that have timers on it be wired through an Ethernet connection to the router. A pit display that might be showing the leaderboard or showing skills leaderboard or something like that could certainly be wired, or it could be wireless and it'd be fine. So my recommended connection is you have a wired connection to a PC or Mac that's running Tournament Manager, and it's the server. This is the PC that's got the saved file on it, or Mac, and it's actually acting as a server. All these other computers that you set up and the Android or iPad mobile devices all get connected through that and kind of share data into that server. And so this is the one I would set up kind of in the center of the room, right by the competition fields, and have maybe the best most reliable computer being used for that. and I connect it, to a USB into a laser printer, so I can print off the match schedules and the So that's basically all you have to do. You print off the match schedules. So to connect to the wireless router, you need to type in the configuration, the router configuration homepage. This is a 192.168.1.1 is Linksys's default connection address, and I think other routers might have a different one, or might not, might have the same one. As you can see, my wireless router right now actually isn't plugged into a network. It's just plugged, powered on and plugged to my computer here. So it says the internet connection is down when I do this, but it still can give me access to the thing. I have to type in my password, which I set in advance, and then it gives me, the kind of setups, configuration stuff that I can do to change configuration. I'm going to go into wireless first here, and you can see that this router, because it's dual band, it has 2.4 gigahertz, which I have disabled currently, and the 5 gigahertz network, which I have enabled. I use this router for VRC events, and in the VRC world, the VexNet communications is over 2.4 gigahertz, so you don't want to run your router on that same thing and potentially disrupt those. So you want to run your 5 gigahertz network only, and so that's why I have it. And so if I wanted to enable or disable, I can hit edit here. On connectivity, I think it is. This is where I get a chance to name things. Yeah, so I just named this disabled because I'm not using it, and then obviously when I check it to disable on the other side, it won't even broadcast anything. And so I've named this ball Wi-Fi and given it a password as the password. You want to give it a better password than that, obviously. But that allows you to set up your whatever the name of your Wi-Fi, your event. It could be Vex, like no spaces, IQ Wi-Fi, something like that, and hit OK. And it says, warning, you might be disconnected. I'm plugged into the thing, so I can't get disconnected because I'm not wirelessly connected. I'm wired connection to my router. So as it updates this, it'll come back, and it now says that the 5 gigahertz is called Vex IQ Wi-Fi. So once you've got that configured, you should be able to connect devices to the network wirelessly. You want to connect your iPads or your Android tablets to those, and then use the connectivity that you can do with Tournament Manager to connect to authorize those iPads. You can see all that information in my other video that shows about how to run Tournament Manager for VexIQ event. So you've got the PCs that are wired as much as possible. You could run separate PCs that are wirelessly connected. If you're running a bigger event, you gotta, you have a skills management PC and maybe a skills audience display PC and a pit display, or even like physically you've got an issue where the wires, you don't want to run 4 or 5 wires all the way across the gym from one corner to the other corner. You could run one wire across there and run it to a switch. Here's a switch, which is just an Ethernet desktop switch. It's made by TP-Link. It's $30, and this is a cool little piece of hardware. You plug one wire into the router, and then all the other wires get plugged into devices, PCs or Macs, and this thing automatically sees that the wire that's going to the router is kind of the input data, and the other ones all connected to it. So it allows you to one cable. If you were going to run on the other side of a gym, you're going to run your skills and you wanted to have a display that showed the skills rankings, and you wanted to have a pit display that showed the qualification rankings, and even have an audience display for the skills field, something to show the timer as the skills events are running, skills matches are running. Then you use that switch to bring one wire across the room and connect it. Okay, I think that's all I have for you today. Good luck.